Welcome to Lesson 3 of Unit 11. Last lesson we talked about histograms, which is one way to represent the spread of data. It allows you to see how many data points are in which spots. Today we're going to talk about box and whisker plots, which also allow us to see the spread of data, but also give us really important information about what we call quartiles. Let me define quartiles for you. We talked about medians already. We know that a median is the middle number when we list a set of data from smallest to largest. Quartiles are what would happen if we split it again. So once we find the median, we've split our data set in half. Quartiles would be if we found the median now of each side of that data, splitting the data set now into 4 pieces. I'm going to write out that definition on the board so that you can write it in your note-taking sheet as well. One other thing to note is that when we say quartiles, we could also be referring to the actual numbers, so like the median itself, and then the number we choose to split the upper half, and the number we choose to split the lower half. A little tricky, but we'll get used to this as we talk more and more about quartiles and we practice making box and whisker plots. The other piece of information that box and whisker plots show us are the minimum and maximum values of our data set. You remember with histograms that we would be able to see how many values were in each bin, but we wouldn't be able to see exactly what the values are. Well, box and whisker plots actually let us see some of what the values are. They let us see minimum, maximum, median, and then quartiles. We're actually going to use this data set up here, this list of numbers, which you also have on your note-taking sheets, to practice finding all of these values and constructing a box and whisker plot. Now, I don't really know if I have to define minimum and maximum for you, but it's good to just have it down. The minimum and maximum are just the lowest and highest values in a data set. So let's take a look at our data. I've already put it in numerical order from smallest to largest just to make this process really easy. And what we're going to do is we're just going to draw arrows to each of the values that we should find. On your note-taking sheets, you'll see that I've given you a checklist of each of the values that I want you to find. So as we find them, check it off so you can follow along. The first value that I want to find is the minimum, which should be really easy. Right here, the lowest number, and I'm going to abbreviate that min. The next value is the maximum, which again, very straightforward. This one up here, the max. I was trying to think of what this data set I've written could represent, and what I landed on was I think this could represent the number of sports drinks drunk by a STP student over a week. Because I know we got some athletes, and then we got some people who are like, I'll just have one, on the weekend. That's me. I don't really drink that many sports drinks. Okay, let's find the median. So to find the median, they're already in numerical order from smallest to largest, so we're just going to have to find the middle number. Now we have 11 data points here. So the middle number is going to be our 6th number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right here, this is our median. We also refer to the median as quartile 2, right? Because if we were splitting this into quarters, this would be the halfway mark. So I'm also going to put Q2 in parentheses here. I mean, more often you'll hear it called the median, but sometimes they'll call it quartile 2. Okay, let's find quartile 1. There are 5 values in this lower half of the data, so we're going to find the middle one, which is right there. And then quartile 3 is just going to be the midway point for that part of the data. So that will be 15. Okay. On your note-taking sheet, you should have arrows to each of these with them labeled. Minimum, quartile 1. Median or quartile 2. Quartile 3, maximum. All right, we're now going to draw a box and whisker plot. I've given you a line to use as a number line. So the first thing you should do is put down some numbers for yourself. Usually when we draw a number line, we put a 0 straight away. We just put a 0 right in the middle of the number line. But as you can see here, we don't have any negative numbers to represent. So it would be kind of a waste of space to devote half of our number line to negative numbers when we don't have any. We're going to look at the range of our data to decide what numbers to put on our number line. The range of the data is just the minimum to the maximum, how far that distance is and what those two values are. So as you can see, the lowest value I need is a 1, the highest I need is a 21. So just to give myself a little bit of buffer room on both sides, I'm going to go from 0 to 22. So let's create the box part of our box and whisker plot. We're going to start at quartile 1, which is this number 4, and give ourselves the end of our box. Go to quartile 2, which is at 13, give ourselves the middle of our box, and then go to quartile 3, which is at 15, and give ourselves the other end of our box. We're going to connect these into a rectangular box shape. Okay, as you can see, this already gives us a lot of information. If we didn't have this data set, but we saw this box plot, we already would know what the median was and what quartiles 1 and 3 are. Okay, let's draw our whiskers now. So the whiskers are going to go from the minimum to this side of the box, and then from the maximum to this side of the box. The minimum is 1, so I'm going to draw a line here, and then just draw a whisker. Not going to make it a box, just a whisker, just a single line. And then 21 is our maximum, and there is the other whisker. From this graph, from this graphical representation, we can see the minimum and maximum values of our data set, we can see the median, and we can see quartiles 1 and 3. We're going to talk a lot more over the next few days about what different box plots can tell us based on just the shape of their box, the shape of their whiskers, the length of the whiskers. But for now, just knowing how to make a box and whisker plot is great.